feed my birds. One of those never-ending jobs.
Good morning.
Good morning.
That was a beautiful sunrise, wasn't it?
It was really pretty.
Yeah.
It was really pretty. We didn't quite manage to hang around for all of it, but it's going to be hot today and we want to get an early start.
Yeah, and I'm Jason.
I'm Karen.
And we're just two people.
We are just two people. I counted. There's just two of us.
All right, so where are we heading today?
We are going to Blanchard Springs Caverns in Arkansas. It's north central Arkansas,
That's
I guess.
right, yeah. A couple hours away.
Yeah, a couple hours away. It's going to be a nice drive. We're going to get on the go before it gets too hot. So it's going to be a hot one today.
Yeah, did you know that cave wasn't really explored until the early 1960s?
I did not know that,
That's
actually.
crazy, yeah.
No.
I just never would have thought. And it wasn't open to the public until 1973 or something like that. It's just, I mean, I was there 30 years ago. Karen's never been there.
No, never been there.
But I just thought it had been around for a lot longer than that.
Yeah, I don't think I realized that, you know, I mean, however long ago that was. I mean, the 1960s is not really that long ago.
I mean, it was,
so,
yeah, I was born in 1976, so
yeah.
the cave was open to the public 3 years before I was born.
Yeah, it's
amazing.
relatively new as far as an attraction goes,
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah, but it's a beautiful cave. We're looking forward to doing both the Dripstone Trail tour.
There are two that they offer, two tours that they offer. There's the Dripstone Trail tour, which is the kind of introductory tour, and then
where you see the big cathedral room.
Yeah, that's like their main attraction. And then we're gonna come back out, take a breather, and then we're gonna go back in and do the Discovery tour, which is a longer, more in-depth, yeah.
You get to see the depths of the cave, so looking forward to that.
I don't want to go too deep. I don't know.
You ready
We'll
to go?
see.
Yeah, you ready to go?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, let's head on.
Let's do it.
We made it! So that was a cool little drive. Nice scenery, curvy roads for the Mustang. Now, one of the things you got to remember when you come up here, no matter how hot it is outside, it's going to be 58 degrees in that cave, so you probably want to bring a jacket.
If you're wondering why we've got jackets and long pants and stuff and it's 85 degrees out here just now, that's why. Yeah. Because it's apparently about 58, 59 degrees in the cave.
All year round.
All year round. So even if it's August or September in Arkansas, take
bring
a jacket.
All right, let's go.
All right.
So as you walk into the visitor center, you're going to be greeted by a lot of helpful staff. There's a lot of information about the cave in there you can read about, the early explorers. You can pick up some souvenirs, some books, pretty much anything you want about the local area in Arkansas in general. But we're not really interested in the visitor center so much as we are the cave. So we're going to take an elevator 21 stories down to go on the Dripstone Trail tour.
The elevator ride we took down to the caverns took about 20 or 30 seconds. It was a very packed tour that we were on this day. It was later in the season, so it was pretty good that it only lasted about 20 or 30 seconds. You have to be pretty friendly with everybody in there. Blanchard Springs Cavern system is actually about 50 to 70 million years old. The oldest formations within the caverns are about 2 to 5 million years old, but it's actually a limestone cave system. It's considered a living cave because it still has water entering and traveling through it. The first tour we took was called the Dripstone Trail Tour. It takes around an hour. It's considered the easiest or the most beginner tour. It's actually accessible for wheelchairs and covers about a little under half a mile. The main attraction of the Dripstone Trail Tour is the Cathedral Room, which is long enough to hold about 3 football fields. It's apparently unusual to see bats on this tour, but the moment we got down there and almost immediately after entering, we had bats flying around.
When we leave the balcony, we're going to walk below that curtain formation and have a really close-up view of how intricate and beautiful it is. It's just incredible to see up close like that. And as we pan over, look at this column that's formed. This column reaches all the way to the ceiling, and it's beautiful in its intricacy and formation. It's amazing that nature can do something like that.
It's really amazing. It really does look like something out of an H.R. Geiger production or something.
One thing I was really impressed with as well was just the lighting that was used in this cave. It really makes all the features stand out with the shadows and the textures. And as you can see, the entire room is just really beautifully lit and enhanced by the lighting. And one of the more recognizable structures on the Dripstone Trail Tour is the battleship. And you can see why it's called that. It almost looks like a ship with smokestacks coming out of the top of it. And nearby is the opera room. As you can see, it looks like a balcony that you would sit in to watch an opera. Oh, there's a bat.
The tour guides did say that it's somewhat unusual for a stable cavern system to have a flat ceiling, as flat ceilings are usually a little bit more unstable and tend to be prone to collapse, but apparently this cavern system, the ceiling is relatively flat and relatively stable.
Yeah, they said it's been tested, and there's no imminent collapse going to happen anytime soon. Even with earthquakes that they've had near there, no one ever even felt it while they were in the cave.
Which was kind of reassuring to hear.
Yeah. As you can see, we have piles of bat guano. That's my absolute favorite part of the Dripstone Trail Tour. This wall was just amazing, like an incredible piece of artwork. It really doesn't get much better than that as far as cave structures go. It's just so strange looking, very alien.
It's almost like a frozen waterfall.
It really is. Strange, but very beautiful at the same time. It just blows my mind that stuff like this forms in caves. Now, toward the end of the Dripstone Trail Tour, we had an amazing sight that you don't see much throughout the cave system. It's these straw-like features on the ceiling.
They're really, really small, some of them, and it's kind of crazy that they just develop naturally. They're so small and fine.
I think they're actually called soda straw formations, aren't they?
They are called soda straws, and when you pan across this entire area and the tour guide shines their flashlight in there, you can really get a sense for just how intricate the entire area is.
And very delicate. One of the things you don't do when you tour these caves is touch anything, and that's because everything is just so delicate. Now that was amazing. That was the Dripstone tour, right?
Yeah, it was actually quite a long tour.
All the flowstones and the curtains and the bat guano.
Yeah, and the bats. I was really, really pleased that there were so many bats just kind of flying around. I mean, I guess that sounds silly for a cave, maybe? I don't know. But
no, it was
really
awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, it was beautiful. But now we go on the
Discovery tour.
Discovery tour.
Which is more like underground hiking, so yeah, that's going to be fun.
This will be interesting. All right.
See you guys later.
Yep. So this is the start of our underground hike on the Discovery tour.
It's going to be about 700 steps, no wheelchair or disabled access, and we started off by looking over this balcony down into the depths of where we would be going.
And that hole you see there, that is how the early explorers first made it into this room. That's called the duck walk hole because precisely you have to walk like a duck to get through it. I can't even imagine what it must have been like to enter this room for the very first time.
And these are some of the torches that they have found from the early explorers.
As you can imagine, there are massive piles of bat guano all throughout the cave system here.
And after those big piles of recycled mosquitoes, we actually saw some of the early explorers' markings and graffiti, I guess you could say, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, they left their names all on the wall there, and not only were there men involved, but also women, so that's a pretty cool little aspect of that. As we continue down through the cave, we encounter the underground water that flows through the cave and has created this entire system. You can see there's a pretty large amount of water that flows through the system here, and what we're seeing here is the original aquifer before it eroded its way through to where we are now. And those original explorers only had one real way in. Through this little hole, way up there, you just actually see some of the original equipment.
I can't imagine what it would have been like to descend into the blackness and not know what you were going to find down there.
Yeah, they actually descended into water.
They did. They actually ended up in water, and without any of the lighting that they have rigged up in here now, I can't even imagine doing that.
No, just torches. This was the original floor of the cave system before it was eroded through by the water that runs through here as well. Just amazing to think how long it must have taken for the water to create an entire new floor. Now as we move down, we're going to come across a salamander pool. And this is a really beautiful area, one of the more interesting in the Discovery Tour in my opinion. And salamanders do actually go there to lay eggs and breed.
I was really hoping to see a salamander, but we didn't. I think a couple of the pools were dry at the time, and one at the back still had some water in it, but it was a really interesting area, and I just love the areas all throughout this cavern with all the water in them.
From the salamander pool, we're going to continue through a living flowstone, actually walk through it, on our way to the Christmas tree room, which is very reminiscent to me of the cathedral room on the Dripstone Trail tour.
It was really spectacular. The Christmas tree room was one of my favorite rooms.
And you'll see the Christmas tree room is named for that cone down in the middle of the room. Now the Boy Scouts who went down there called that the rocket room because it reminded them of a cone of a rocket.
The lighted walkway towards the upper portion of the screen here is actually the original trail that the explorers had to take when they were making their way around this place.
Leaving the Christmas tree room, we're going to go through a walkway with a lot of formations alongside of it, interesting formations on the walls, and we're going to end up at one of the largest flowstones in the country.
This is called the Giant Flowstone Room. It is one of my personal favorite rooms in the entire tour, and it is absolutely massive. They have a seating area above this that you can use to enjoy it. It is lit really, really well, and the color of the water is just amazing. It's this aquamarine color.
And from the Giant Flowstone, we're going to go to the Ghost Room. Now, the original explorers had to enter this room through that hole in the ceiling with a ladder. So it's a little bit treacherous, and our guide, her father, was actually a part of this expedition to get into that room.
This is the Ghost Room, and this first pillar here is what's known as the Ghostly Sentinel that the original explorers saw when they came to this area for the very first time.
But what really impressed me about this room was that strange crystalline structure that just stood out against everything. It was so bright and so white. I've never seen anything quite like it in my life. This room was just amazing.
It was really mesmerizing. My eyes were just continually drawn to the glistening structure at the end of this room, and it really felt like you were about to start mining for some precious metal or something.
And that basically concludes the Discovery Tour. But what an amazing scene. I just can't believe how beautiful that cave is. But from here, we're going to take the fun bus.
It was fun. It was also frankly terrifying at the same time. The tour guides who run these buses back to the visitor center are obviously very familiar with this drive because they do it at a rate of speed.
And that by itself is almost worth the price of admission.
Okay.
Well, that was a lot of fun, wasn't it?
That was a lot of fun, and it was a lot nicer and cooler down there than it is up here.
And it was a cave. The Discovery Tour that feels more like a cave than the Dripstone Trail.
Much more. We did both tours, the Dripstone Trail Tour and the Discovery Tour. The Discovery Tour is the longer one that goes deeper, and it's a lot more intimate. It's a lot more, I mean, you can really tell you're in a cave rather than kind of a big cavern.
The guide as well was very knowledgeable. Her dad was actually one of the earlier explorers in that cave.
He was.
Now anyone can go there and tour it. It's well worth doing. I don't know if a jacket was needed.
I wouldn't say that the long pants and the jacket were necessarily needed. It's also very humid in the cave. It's constantly 100% humidity,
Right.
so it's not a cold dry or a cool dry. It's more, it's a kind of a damp cool, but no, I was very comfortable down there. Slightly less comfortable for those of us who have slightly claustrophobic tendencies, maybe.
Yeah,
but
Kieran had a little bit of a moment at one point.
But yeah, and you know, the problem is on the Discovery Trail or the Discovery Tour is that once you're down there, and they don't actually let you go out
Right.
except to go through the entire cave system. So.
But anyway, overall, thumbs up.
Oh, it was great.
Thumbs up.
It was
Yeah.
absolutely beautiful.
Yeah,
It was
and
amazing.
we got one more thing to show you. Probably we're gonna end the video with it. We're gonna head to Blanchard Springs, which is where the water that runs through the cave exits it. So if you've enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up and subscribe. Help the channel out. I don't know how many of these we'll do right off the bat, but
Yeah.
we're just trying to get started with it. So
Well, and Labor Day's a holiday, and everyone's off work, and we're off work, and it was a really good day to just get out and
explore.
explore, use a new
Have some
camera,
fun.
start the new channel, and do something. So,
All right. Well, thanks a lot, guys.
talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.